Well, a very good morning and welcome back to Lahti and the 2017 cross-country and, of course, Nordic World Championships. The cross-country skiers are in action again today. Skiathlons on the programme for both men and women. And let's just have a look. A reminder of where Lahti is. What are we? 100 kilometres or so north of Helsinki. We're right on the southern end of the Päijänne Lake. Lahti, of course, meaning bay in Finnish. This lake goes all the way up to Jyväskylä. It's absolutely massive, but the majority of Finland seems to be water. But they also have some unbelievably good cross-country trails, which they'll be racing on today. Well, Lahti, the only city now to have hosted these Nordic Championships on 7 occasions. There's a lot of expectation on the Finnish skiers today. They've got to do something. And of course, they still haven't forgotten about the disaster of 2001, which was when they last held the championships. Mike Dixon alongside me, Patrick Winston. Mike, this is going to be a big day, not only for the Norwegians, but for the Finns as well.
It is. The Finns are wanting some colour of medal. They were close in the sprint competition on day 1 of racing, so they really want something to happen today.
Well, let's have a look and see what... It's not all over. The 6 men through to the final are ready to go. There's your man, Ustiakov. When he's on form, he's unbeatable. The sprints he's won this year, he's qualified first, and he qualified first today. Pellegrino, the World Cup leader in terms of sprints. Can he add the world title?
Well, I think he showed in the 3 outings so far, he's got a huge turn of pace, a little bit like Fala on the final climb. You need something special there just to try and gain a gap, gain the advantage of getting rid of everybody, so they won't have the advantage of tucking in behind you. What about Northug? Nobody expected this. Well, talking to Norwegians before the race, they said, no, he's no chance. And I think we said, well, he's a wise old owl, and maybe he'll get some of that memory back, and he has.
Now, remember what he did in the World Championships in Falun, Petter Northug. He's trying to keep everyone waiting. I think Pellegrino's on the line, just trying to stay focused. Nordic, of course, Mike, blew away the field in Falun with a burst on the first climb. I think he caught everyone out with that.
He did, and I think they pulled him back a little. Then he put another burst, got rid of him. But Finn Hagen is the master of the final climb. He always seems to buy himself a little victory there.
Ustiakov, 2 sprint victories to his name this year. The first of them came in Davos. 1.6 kilometers at altitude. He knows he can cope with this. Hakkala. Well, he looked scared in the semi-final. He looked petrified. Petrified just a minute before the start of the men's final. Number 6. It's Klæbo.
They call him the new Northug. He's in the final.
Well, it was only, what, 5-6 years ago where everyone under the age of 13 in Norway skied and looked like Petter Northug. There's the real man, Petter Northug. He's justified his inclusion in the team. There's no doubt about that, Mike. Getting through to the final. And when he's there, if he can stay with the pace, if the pace isn't too fast, he's got the best finish of all of them. Oh,
he has. He's got that desire. He seemed a little less sparky the previous time out the semi.
Yeah, I think the odds are against him because Ustiakov and Pellegrino are the 2 men who are going to be tough to catch. Klæbo has just got to feed off all his success this year. 2nd in the standings. He won the last World Cup in Otepää, and that was a 1.6 freestyle sprint as well. Klæbo there wearing 6. Northug on the near side. Hakkala for Finland, wearing 10 in the middle of the field. Ustiakov taking it easy. It's Klæbo who's opted to take the lead, and the pace at the moment is slow.
A slow pace, well, that will definitely play into the hands of Petter Northug. And I like the way that Klæbo in 2nd place, he's even modelled his hairstyle of Petter Northug. They call him the new Northug, and he really is sparky when it comes to sprint racing.
So Ustiakov it is, leading up the first little climb over the bridge and out of the stadium. Now that climb itself, Mike, is the equivalent of five flights of stairs, just to give you some idea of what they've done already.
It's brutal, isn't it? And then they just slide their way up that hill. They make it look so easy. This section is relatively easy. It starts to climb again. Ustiakov, he's fearless. When he's laid his cards out, he's intending to run with this from beginning to end at the front.
Now, it's not very often that someone falls in a sprint and gets through to the next round. There's a possibility that Ustiakov, who fell in the quarterfinal, could go all the way and take the title as well.
I thought that was very expensive what he had to do with the broken pole. Then he was stumbled again. He had to pull the pack back again, but he seems to have energy for the final.
And the pace being shown by the fact that Ustiakov has spread this field out. Ustiakov leads. We've got the youngster from Norway in second place. That's Klæbo. And behind him, the home favourite, Hakala, who's trying to hang on in there. Northug back in fifth at the moment, just behind his teammate.
Well, Klæbo's going to gear himself up, and so is, of course, Finnhagen Krogh in fourth place for an incredible turn of pace up this climb. This is, I think, where the race is going to be won or lost.
Well, this is where Northug's got to try and hang on in there. Generally switches to skate one long before the rest of the field. Ustiakov might try and skate two all the way to the top of this climb. And for the first time, Ustiakov opens up a gap of 2 meters over Italy's Pellegrino. Klæbo still 3. Back in 4 at the moment, wearing bib 2, that's Krogh, and now Petter Northug looks to be, he's found wanting, Mike. There's a 5 meter gap.
He's been found out. This pace is ridiculous at the front. Pellegrino getting his magic. Klæbo always with that very fast tempo for a big guy.
Cornering skills absolutely essential at the top of the hill. It's between 4 men. Hakala of Finland is out. Petter Northug of Norway will not contend the medals unless there's a big fall at the front of this field, and it's still Ustiakov leading with 350 meters to go. Under the Luta banner, they've got 1 corner to negotiate. Russia ahead of Italy, ahead of Norway. Those 3 looking like the medalists at the moment. Krogh's let it slip a little.
Klæbo looks so composed, so does Pellegrino. Ustiakov setting himself up to be taken, but he needs to find some incredible power now.
Well, we've seen that many times this season. Pellegrino is the master of the last 150 meters, and it's still Ustiakov of Russia. Pellegrino now coming strong. It's going to be Italy's gold medal. What a way to start the championships for them. And Ustiakov, the fastest qualifier, misses out. He's furious with himself for that. He did all the hard work. I think tactically Ustiakov perhaps not showing the rest of the field enough respect.
No, what I did notice into the stadium, Pellegrino skis, he wasn't in the slipstream, but he was pulling back distance to Ustiakov, and so was Klæbo. Ustiakov had that big lead, but they pulled all that back. Well, on the glide out.
The Italians have had such a rich history in sprinting, Mike, and the great master Zorzi springs to mind. They've done well at the Olympics. They've never taken the world title. They have today. Pellegrino of Italy is the gold medalist here, and Klæbo looking a little bit disappointed, but it was a fantastic run from him. I think his success will come in the future. He's got the bronze medal, a time of 3:16.28.
The final time was brutal. Ustiakov tried to do it the tough way by breaking everybody else, but in that process he broke himself. 3:11.72 his time, but Pellegrino 3:15.84, the fastest time of the day.
There was a stumble from Ustiakov. Perhaps that cost him in the closing stages. But one thing that Pellegrino has, Ustiakov's got the strength, but Pellegrino has the ability to up the tempo to unimaginable levels.
And look at the different body size. He's a little like a lightweight boxer. You can really throw those limbs around in the smaller stature. But Ustiakov spent. Klæbo nearly falls here. I think that cost him the silver. He would have gone for it.
I think that was gone. I think it was defending bronze that was so important.
It was. He nearly fell back. Ustiakov, he's very disappointed in the closing pen.
Pellegrino verging on a veteran. Klæbo is a real youngster. He has got a fantastic future. Was for Federico Pellegrino of Italy, and good to see a new nation on the podium. The Italians, of course, have medalled before, but they've never won the sprint, the men's sprint, Mike, which was a little bit surprising. So delighted with that. In the women's event, so much determined by the fact that Nielsen and Matvieva both fell in the semi-final. That opened the door for the Norwegians and the Americans. Welcome back to Lahti, just in time for the final of the women's sprint event, and Jessie Diggins has beamed away all the way through the qualifying, through the quarters, through the semis. There's a race favourite. She may be the only Norwegian in this heat of 6, but she is the hot favourite now. Randall, what a comeback it would be if she could take the title. Ingmar's daughter, strong, solid, really dictated the races she's been in so far, so don't count her out of this one. Sophie Caldwell, was she expecting to come through? I'm not sure she was, but she's here. She's going to finish in the top 6. She's got every chance of being in the top 3 and going home with a medal. What a couple of weeks it's been for North American cross-country skiing and biathlon. As if there wasn't enough drama already. The first medals of the 2017 Nordic World Championships about to be decided. Fowler, Diggins, Randall, Ingmar's daughter, Caldwell and Falk.
What a turnaround, Patrick. Normally we see 3 or 4 red suits of Norway in a final at a World Championships. This time it's all about America. 3 American suits. It's a first ever, and setting themselves up for a great chance of medals. And 2 Swedes, 1 Norwegian.
Okay, which are the Americans? Randall, Diggins, Caldwell. Randall with the experience, Diggins with the success this year. Caldwell very much a surprise act.
Well, it's a hard one to call. The way that Jess Diggins has been finishing the final 150, it was, just looking at the bottom of the screen, Alex Harvey has caused the obstruction to Ibbotson. So jury decision deciding that'll be a yellow card. Diggins, yeah, does nothing wrong in the last 150. Randall, very clever, but she lost a little bit of pace in the semi-final, and maybe was lucky Matvieva and Nielsen were pulled out.
Good cornering skills there from Fowler at the front of the field. She wants to lead this one out. And Fowler, Mike, she must have been quite excited when she saw Nielsen going out.
Well, Nielsen was her main threat, wasn't it? But Fowler, she's just got pace. She's such a light figure when it comes to the final climb, which is coming up very soon. She can match or beat anybody, I think, up that climb.
So leading the way at the moment, we have Maiken Kaspersen Fowler of Norway, Ingmar's daughter in second place for Sweden, with Falk just behind her teammate, and then the 3 Americans, 4, 5 and 6. But there's still plenty of time to make a move, but this is when they have to start thinking about applying the pressure. The final climb here in Lahti.
Well, and remember, Kikkan Randall back in 2009, she took silver medal in this event. It would be great to see her on the podium again.
Fowler, the World Cup sprint leader, the world sprint leader and winner last year. She leads the way. She's got a gap of 2-3 meters, and suddenly Ingmar's daughter is looking tired. Fowler's going to have to keep the pressure on, though. Another 20 meters to go to the top of the climb, and the gold medal's getting closer for the Norwegians.
Look at the tempo from Fowler. She's just getting rid of everybody, what, 15, 20 meters. Jess Diggins still in there. Kikkan Randall coming out through on the outside.
And Ingmar's daughter actually providing a bit of a roadblock to the Americans, which has given Fowler an even bigger advantage. She's 40 meters clear on the descent, and she's just got to hold it together around the final corner. 450 meters to go. 2:27, 5 seconds quicker than we saw in any of the quarterfinals. Somewhere Fowler has found some reserves. It's all about second and third here, and it's Jessie Diggins who moves into the silver medal position. The Americans with a chance of 2 medals, because Ingmar's daughter is on her last legs going round the final bend.
She is. Jess Diggins absolutely finding power. She's not just happy with second, she's chasing gold, but unlikely.
The title is going from Bjørgen to Fowler. It stays in Norwegian hands. Bjørgen going out in the early stages, but Fowler supreme. Jessie Diggins, brilliant run from her. She deserves it.
Kikkan Randall managed the 3rd place.
Well, how about that? Fowler the champion, America, the news, silver and bronze, similar to we saw in Falun, and we were just as surprised then.
Incredible. Yes, that was the 10-kilometer freestyle, silver and bronze. In the sprint race, America, second and third. And of course, Fala, well, she did nothing wrong. Nobody could match her at any point on any part of the track.
Yeah, along with Nielsen, she's been the dominant force over the last 24, maybe even 36 months, Mike. So it's not a surprise, but Fallon knows how difficult it is to win the big event. There's so much pressure, so much opportunity for things to go wrong.
So right with that statement, because Val de Fiemme, Fala was third, took the bronze medal in this event. That was back in 2013, and of course in Falun, again, she was third position.
And for the 6th time in 9 World Championships, the fastest qualifier walks away with the gold medal.
It's a course, 53-meter climb. It's only 3 meters short of climb of what they had in Falun, which was the toughest course by a long margin in the history of these sprint races.
Well, Marit Bjørgen's comeback was sensational on the World Cup, but I think Bjørgen might have swapped her World Cup victories for a World Championship medal in this sprint event. That has gone to Keegan Randall.
Keegan, that's right. Was it last April, last May, when she gave birth? Quite a comeback.
Yeah, it's a sport for mums, this one.
Well, they say if a mum keeps on racing, they are so determined, because Mother Nature says other things. But of course, you build the family around your travelling and the care. But well done, Keegan Randall.
Well, the two athletes with the biggest smile on the start line have come away with a medal each.
Positivity works. And Keegan Randall really was the athlete who's created the momentum of this now amazing American team. Jeff, Keegan Randall's husband, does the interviews. Hopefully he'll interview his wife.
There's your champion. Finally, she is going to be the one who makes the headlines on the first day of the championships, and not Marit Bjørgen, who of course won the title 2 years ago in Falun. Not this time round, but I think Bjørgen's best chance, the skiathlon or the 10-kilometer.
Yes, I think she'll be back, without a doubt.
So an easy win in the end for Maiken Caspersen. Falla, she likes to lead to the front. She kept that true all the way through. Let's have a little listen to what she had to say after the victory.
It's like you have this fight going on between each other on each other's side, and it's really exciting, and you have to be really strong and just mental and in your body, so it's really challenging. And when then everything is right, it's just an amazing feeling that everything is going good today. I was just fighting the whole way, and I didn't realize I was winning before I was right in the finish, so yeah, it was amazing.
Well, nice to hear from Falla, the champion, and of course she took the Olympic title in 2014. Actually, Voigt, who won the ski jumping last night, is also the Olympic champion, and if that trend continues, you could do worse than backing Marit Bjørgen for the skiathlon today. So just 8 minutes to go before the start of the women's skiathlon. A little bit of frantic action out in the stadium in front of us as they get their second pair of skis prepared and into the right place. Now, Per Eilifsen, three-time world champion, has been out on the tracks with Jochen Behler, also a World Cup winner. Let's hear what they found out.
So I'm together with Per Eilifsen here. He was the winner 15 years ago on this place here. You remember?
Yeah, of course. It was a very nice race. Both in 2002, a World Cup win here, and also 2001, two times World Championship here.
My begin as coach was here in Lahti.
Okay.
2001, also with some medals. Silver medal from Sommerfeld. But now we go out for the new tracks.
Yeah.
So, now we are on the highest point of the classic course. That is from the lowest to the highest point, nearly 1 kilometer, always up. It's maybe the important thing for the classic start.
Yeah, it's right here also. I made my move 2001 and break away from Jari Isometze, and then I took my gold.
So you can see, but it's in the classic, so it's at the beginning. Anyway, the classic course is a little bit harder than the skating course. So I think we both expect a close race up to the end.
Absolutely, and it's going to be a real tough race.
Yeah.
I think it was a little bit of a different feeling when I was here in 2002. Maybe a little bit better shape.
No, the course, I think it's easier. Just right now, it's more wide.
Yeah.
And it's not so fast because it's not so good today.
No, today it's a
so
little bit slow.
If the competition tomorrow will be close at the end, with 6 people in this curve fighting for the medal.
Yeah, it's going to be really tough.
Yeah, that will be a crash like Stina Nielsen.
Yeah, maybe. Hopefully not.
Yeah. No!
Oh, now we're talking.
We are learning.
Yeah, we're learning.
But the old ones get away. Yes.
Bye-bye.
So the boys having a good time out on the track, certainly not in quite as good a shape as when they were winning World Championships and World Cups. We'll tell you more about their careers a little bit later on. Let's have a look at the start sheet, Mike. There are 50 entries. There are really only 5 or 6 who stand a chance of winning, the majority of which are Norwegian.
Certainly are. Bjørgen, you mentioned Bjørgen, so strong. Just 1 week ago, she broke the field by 26 seconds, and that was to second place, then 48 seconds to third place in a classic 10 kilometer. I just wonder if she'll try and go bold from the start and break the field early to allow herself some margin into the freestyle, the second part of the skiathlon. Or will they hang on to her? That'll be the theory. If someone breaks, the field will try and hold on to any break, which even if it goes early, they'll have to try and hold on to it.
Bjørgen, of course, the Olympic champion from 2014. She's started a family since then. She's been on an unbelievable comeback season this season, but we cannot rule out the likes of Nielsen of Sweden, who's going to be hungry after her disappointment in the sprint event, going out in the semi-finals. And of course, Heidi Weng, the World Cup leader, Osberg, who's got a good record in the skiathlons. But what about the host nation? All championships need a home winner.
They do. Parmakoski's the big favourite. She's worked so hard on her classic part, which was her weak aspect in the 2 disciplines. So she really believes, Finland hopes, that she can do something special.
All 50 competitors on the start line. Just minutes away from the start of the women's skiathlon. Just a reminder, 7.5 kilometers in the classic style, twice round a brutally hard loop. And then they have 7.5 kilometers of freestyle. The transition, the pit stop, very, very important. Weng wears 1, Osberg 2, Parmakoski 3, Marit Bjørgen, the favorite, is 4. Diggins, silver medal in the bag already for America, is 5. Nielsen 6, Kalla 7, and Shakalova down in 8th, perhaps the last who has a chance of winning this race. Lara Mononen won't agree with that. She starts number 9, Stadlober 10 for Austria, and Kiloinen 11 for Finland. Mike, the Americans, a brilliant start. 2 medals in the very first race for them in the sprint, the silver and the bronze. I just get the feeling from them that that has become the normal. They're now after gold rather than after medals.
Oh, it's quite amazing. Look at this. There's, I thought it was Finn. It's 31, tangled up there. That's Matvieva. She's had 2 bits of bad luck. She was taken out in the sprint, and now again taken out in the skiathlon.
Now, that reminds me of Frode Estil, who was taken out or took a fall in the early part of a World Championship pursuit. A long time ago. I think it was out in Sapporo, actually.
And he broke his pole, lost 55 seconds. Oh, look at that. One goes down and it's just a massive pile-up.
Yeah, number 22, Victoria Carl, is the one who went down first. She pretty much got away unscathed. Has she got a broken pole? No.
Anika Taylor, the British athlete in there, she was brought down early. I don't think her poles are broken, but 2 other athletes have broken poles.
That reminded me of a game of Spillikins, but it also reminded me of a British Army event when there was a massive pile-up after about 150 metres, but everyone was on the same type of Fisher ski, and no one had a clue which was which. But no damage done to the favourites, Mike. Fortunately, the top 15 seeds all ahead of the disaster there.
Yes, away and free, and Marit Bjørgen looks like she is going for the early tough pace, just maybe testing the field early on after just 1:45. Who can stay with this vicious pace? Those who fell, Patrick, that's a real disadvantage, some 25-30 seconds lost.
Yeah, Matvieva really is the biggest casualty because she's on very good form, and we saw that in the sprint event. We'll track her all the way through, see if she can make it back. She's now relying on Bjørgen taking a steady pace on the first of the 2 classic loops. Now, Jochen and Per, Mike, was saying from the low point, which is just about on this corner, this is the fastest section of the course, from the low point to the high point, just a kilometre. We skied it, what, twice yesterday. It is not easy, and the little bits of downhill are so fast that you only get 5-6 seconds rest.
I think that's the aspect in this classic. Yeah, but yeah, 7-10 seconds at best. But this climb, what a pity the camera never does. This is a brutally steep climb, and then it goes a little more gentle as they get to the top of this rise, and then you climb further up to the right.
Interesting that the top seeds keep the skis in the tracks, having no problems getting the grit wax to work. Those lower down in the rankings, most of them stepping aside straight into the herringbone, which is a slower technique.
Yes, you lose time and you lose energy when you have to break into the herringbone, and that is a steep climb. I'm amazed so many were able to remain in the tracks there. Good wax is absolutely required. You get some idea of how steep the section is down on the left side. It's about a 22% in terms of steepness climb at the best.
Well, since the World Championships in 2007, the Norwegians have won 5 of these events. Savialova, who won in 2007, and Kowalczyk, who won in 2009, who incidentally is not racing. She is saving herself. She's putting all her eggs into one basket. It's the 10-kilometre classic that she's after.
I think that's a wise decision. You use so much energy today with the 7.5 classic, 7.5 freestyle, and of course Kowalczyk is an out-and-out classic specialist.
Now, the Norwegians might have had clean sweeps in this on many occasions over the World Cup and the World Championships. Who else can we look at? The Finns, obviously, home soil. There's going to be a little bit of inspiration there. Mononen, of course. We've got Kiloinen in there, but Parmakoski's the one who's shone so far this season. What about Charlotte Kalla, though, of Sweden?
Yes, and look at the way Kalla has started. There she is, bib number 7, and alongside her teammate Nilsson. I think both of these athletes can have an impact in this race. Maybe could both medal on their best possible day. We saw Nilsson on the Tour de Ski. Yes, it was 5 kilometres then, classic, followed by 5 freestyle, and she won the race there in Italy on that day.
Charlotte Kalla, of course, the Olympic and world champion over 10 kilometres free, having won that title obviously in Sochi and again at the World Championships in Falun 2 years ago. She took the bronze medal in the skiathlon. Can she go 2 places better? She is a very good freestyle skier, so it really comes down to the fact, can she stay with Bjørgen on the second of the classic laps and give herself a real chance?
That's the issue, the classic. When Bjørgen on paper just 7 days ago was so strong, is she going to be brave enough to try and break early? 5 minutes of racing and she's got the usual suspects around her.
Yeah, we thought a possible 6 winners. We're down to a group of 9 or 10 already. Bjørgen leading the way up the steep climb. Surely she's not going to go on the first loop. It's the second time up this climb, I think, where she's likely, if she wants to get a lead after the first phase, this is where she's likely to go.
It is. There's Jess Diggins, not such a good start. She's somewhat 8-10 seconds off the pace after just 5 minutes.
Heidi Weng, of course, wearing bib number 1. Her teammate Östberg wearing 2. Number 9, that's Laura Moinonen from Espoo in Finland. Espoo, the second biggest community in Finland. And I was slightly surprised to see that it's really on the outskirts of Helsinki.
It's attached.
Yeah.
I thought that Kalsina, bib 18, the Russian there, she slipped a little. So maybe the Russians' wax not so good.
So up to the high point at 2 kilometres, and now they get a little reprieve from the work that they've put in already. 1.5 kilometres back down into the stadium with just a couple of short climbs, nothing that will do any damage to these women. Nielsen sitting in 8th. That's good news for the Swedes. She's only 5.4 behind. She could do with closing that down to a couple of seconds. Nice to see the veteran Ishida still up in the top 13.
Yes, and Ishida, of course, a good run out in Japan, in Korea, but the field wasn't too strong.
Welcome back to Lahti. All sorts of drama out on the tracks. We've had another couple of fallers. Ishida being taken out by Mononen of Finland, as you can see there, and all the time these athletes dropping some 20-30 meters behind the leaders. It is going to be almost impossible to get back in touch, because the woman leading is Marit Bjørgen, the Olympic champion, the most successful cross-country skier of all time, men or women. 106 World Cup wins to her name, Mike, and she just goes from strength to strength.
She does. She was a little tentative from the gun there. She tested a fast pace, and now she really is into her rhythm, into her control of this race. And I'll tell you what, those behind her, somewhat 8 there, trying to stay with us, are really suffering right now.
Parmakoski doing well, hanging in for Finland, and Haag is there as well. Kalla just 3.2 behind, no damage done yet. Stablober of Austria has done exceptionally well, 6.9 off the pace, but I suspect, having had a fast first lap, we're going to have an even faster second lap. Halfway through the classic stage, and I think Bjørgen wants to get this group down to a maximum of 3 for the start of the freestyle.
I think so, and the profile of this course, even this section here, it's a very steep bridge. The profile on this classic stage is where, if you're strong in the classic, I think you can afford to do a lot more damage to those chasing you. If, like Bjørgen, you're head and shoulders above the rest.
Yeah, the 2 kilometre phase of this second loop could be where we see the group reduced. That's a climb from the lowest point at 1 kilometre up to the highest point at 2. We saw Bjørgen going around the loop a couple of times yesterday, Mike. She was taking it easy, still travelling incredibly fast. It was the first time I've ever seen her do a lap without, I call them the minders, but actually the coach, the guys who are discussing the skis, trying to control the pace, talking all the time, discussing how they're going to win this one.
I think even though she's vastly experienced, I think she does need people to support and help, and hey, if you're the best, you can afford to have that. She needs that, and that's what brings the best out of her. Did you see that turn of pace there? Already it's got rid of 3 more athletes. They may well catch her up in the next part of the terrain.
The only one who looks as though they're not struggling is Parmakoski, who's sitting in behind Marit Bjørgen, trying to match her stride for stride. Heidi Weng quick on the flat. Bjørgen's advantage comes on the uphill. She won the Norwegian national title in this event earlier this month. A full 1 minute 21 clear of Falla.
That's incredible. Östberg beginning to suffer a little bit. The biggest surprise is bib 18 just gone through. Kalsina, the 26-year-old Russian, she's only 4 or 5 seconds off the lead.
Well, seldom do we see the group split like this, and all the talk last night was about Bjørgen and Sundby's tactics. They're the 2 race favourites. Bjørgen, we were fairly confident, was going to go hard from the gun. Sundby, we're still not sure. Does he try and get clear in the classic? Does he rely on his skating?
I think he has the ability to, like Bjørgen, try and break the field. Look at the separation here, but it's a dangerous tactic as well. There's Kalsina still staying well with it. This climb coming up now is probably the steepest on this 375.
Stadlober in 10, number 12, that's Natalie von Siebenthal. The Swiss cowbells have been in action. I think in Valmoster there must have been 40-50 of them. We've got a contingent of 6, but they still make a fair racket in the town of Lahti, the host town for these championships.
Did you hear the cheer there? That was when they saw Paul McCoskey at the front. All 35,000 people in the stadium reacted to that positive move.
Well, Paul McCoskey, of course, second in the Tour de Ski. We cannot take her chances lightly. I think she's going to be on something a little bit special today. 5 medals in championships. All of them have come in team events. Today's her opportunity to get an individual medal.
And I think, Patrick, when you look at Paul McCoskey, her strength has always been more so, I think, on the classic, but she's worked so hard this summer in making her freestyle much, much more efficient. Cala's back with the action. Bib 7.
2 wins to Paul McCoskey in her career. Both of them come in stage pursuit, which is the other format of a pursuit race where the two races are separated.
That's right. I'm just thinking, can you remember what your pulse was at the top of this rise yesterday? Mine was close to 200.
Well, mine hasn't been 200 for about 2 decades, but it was on maximum at this stage of the course.
Usberg, when you put such a powerful beginning, early part of your season together, she was so good. She was winning in Lillehammer. She's almost a spent force now.
Yeah, 26-year-old from Gjøvik would dearly love to be up with this leading group of 6 athletes. Are you surprised to see Jakobsen still hanging in at the back?
No, I was thinking she's so lightly raced this season that, and often that happens when you come to a World Champs having not been over-pushed.
There is Jakobsen, who had a very, very tough time out in Sochi in 2014. Her brother passing away during the Olympic Games, but give her credit, she stuck at the competitions and she stuck at the sport. She, of course, took the silver in Falun in this event, so she's got a little bit of a reputation to hold up.
Yes, and often she comes in under race. There's Usberg and just looks so tight. In fact, you just get the body language there that this is a world of pain and fatigue.
Katarina Gantz just behind her for Italy. She looked fantastic out on the tracks yesterday. I was so impressed with how smooth they were skiing. And the other thing you notice on these tracks, Mike, is how well prepared they are. It was like skiing on a cushion of air. You had to check that you were actually still in contact with the snow. The spores, the track bits that they cut that you ski in the classic were just perfect. No deviation. No one had been cutting in and out of them. A real pleasure.
Yeah, they're so beautifully cut, and your skis, you can be confident that your skis slide straight the way back up the track, and that absolutely helps. That's good performance there from Kilonen.
Yeah, but I think she's gone from that leading group of 4. Weng is in there, Bjørgen is there, the Olympic champion, Charlotte Kalla, who's got 2 Olympic golds to her name, and of course, well, more than 2 individual golds. She, of course, was the key player in winning Sweden the women's relay out in Sochi, and Paul McCoskey of Finland. So 4 athletes, 3 nations, just the way we want it.
It's fabulous, but I'm thinking, what is going on in the mind of Marit Bjørgen, bib number 4? She won last Saturday's race in this style by 26 seconds. Yes, it was 10 kilometre, and then 3rd place, 48 behind her. Now they're all managing to stay with her, those big names. Is she going to be feeling negative? Is she going to be thinking, how can I get rid of these athletes?
So Bjørgen, the most successful cross-country skier ever in that leading group. Charlotte Kalla, the #1 Swede, who will be watched by every single member of her hometown. They down tools when Kalla is racing. Paul McCoskey for 3, the #1 Finn, and Heidi Weng, who's #1 in the World Cup standings at the moment. They have a 10-second gap ahead of the second group, and that could be decisive. 5.8 kilometres completed. Welcome back to Lahti. Here are the leaders in the women's skiathlon. We're already down to 4 skiers in the leading group, and we are just approaching the halfway stage. Now, the likes of Paul McCoskey and Weng, and of course Charlotte Kalla, will be delighted that they're still on the heels of Bjørgen with just a 7.5 freestyle leg to come.
Well, look at the speed there as well. That descent up to 50 kilometres an hour, coming into the stadium to clip into their freestyle skis. They'll be delighted, you're right, that they've managed to control or stay with Marit Bjørgen. Gives them a chance of a gold still at this stage.
So they descend into the stadium right the way round the outside. Up ultimately is the back straight on the finishing section. And then, of course, they have the skis on their right at the moment. And that is where the transition takes place. From the classic skis and classic poles, they'll change into the skating skis, skating poles, which are shorter in terms of the ski, longer in terms of the pole. No change of the boot.
No change of the boot. It's a combination boot most of the athletes wearing. They needed the flexibility of the sole of the boot for this, the classic skiing. And now it's a very fixed, as you say, more rigid skating ski coming up for the next 3.75.
Now, are we going to lose one of this leading group of four in the transition? It is easy to make mistakes. And it's Parmakoski who brings the crowd to their feet. Marit Bjørgen the slowest away, and she does not want to give away a single second. What's the margin? She's lost a couple. She'll claim that back, I think, fairly early on. But brilliant drills from Parmakoski. Now the chasing group being led out by Ankiloinen, going well for Finland. Mononen, she's still there. We've got Kiloinen in 5. Shikalova is in 6. Hennig of Germany in 7. Stadlober of Austria doing well. Jakobsen, who's medalled in this before, silver medal from 2 years ago, all the way down outside the top 8 at the moment. Ishida took a fall earlier on, 14th place at the moment, 30.4 behind. I cannot see her contending for medals at the end of today.
Oh, this is look at the time. Early season, she would have stayed with that pace, no problem at all. She really is a spent force at this time.
Her best chance now in these championships, and it's going from bad to worse for Østberg. She can't get the pole off, the strap off her hand. And the Americans, so much success earlier on. Jessie Diggins, we thought she might contend, Mike, but with a margin of 1 minute 6, not only is she not going to get any medals, she's not going to see the medalists again.
Not at all. I'm just wondering, Patrick, yes, 3 of the athletes, Parmakoski, Kala, Weng, managed to stay with Bjørgen, but the damage done to them, the fatigue levels are going to be high, and already Bjørgen's pulled 4.9 seconds back off Parmakoski.
Yeah, Parmakoski, though, like a limpet, she is not going to let Bjørgen get away until she draws her final breath. It's been a brilliant performance from her so far. Good technically and very good tactically as well, Parmakoski. She's giving herself every chance. I think most of the money will still be on Marit Bjørgen to win this one, but with the majority of the 35,000 fans here, Mike, flying that blue and white flag of Finland, that's got to be worth something.
Well, she'll hear the roar. I know she's coming up towards the base of the ski jumps, but she will hear that roar and she'll think, well, that's my people, but try to push me on. And because she was seen on the screen in the stadium, they really are supporting her. And that factor is always there, the home advantage. Yes, it can be a negative at times, but if you run with it, it can be a huge positive if you build the mindset ready for it.
Well, the last time the Finns got a look into the medals was back in 2009 in this event. That was Saarinen who claimed the bronze medal behind Kowalczyk and Stiara.
Just as the race unfolds, Patrick, we saw the crash at the start, and Medvedeva, she fell onto another athlete's ski tip. It badly cut her cheek, and she's still going. There's a lot of blood, but she's still managing to stay with the pace quite well. 36 at the moment, having lost 30 seconds in the fall.
Well, I have a theory you can only ever feel one pain, so if the cheek's hurting, maybe she won't feel the pain in the legs and the lungs.
Well, maybe it's overriding, but there is a lot of blood, and she's fighting well in this race.
There's Ishida, just tucking in at the back of the chase group. We should have the leaders through in a moment. Will it be Bjørgen? Will it be Parmakoski who's setting the pace on the first of 2 freestyle legs? Now, Mike, the course, exactly the same as the men are going to race a little bit later on. They do the big climb up around the back of the ski slope. They drop down, and then they've got a steep climb before they go out on an extended loop that actually runs adjacent to the track that they've just been on. But then the final climb on the freestyle loop is massive.
It's horrific. It's so punishing, and this section of the track is also punishing. Bjørgen is just relentlessly keeping this horrendous pace going, and Parmakoski's just going to have to go on survival. She will get those long recoveries on the what, 25-second descent coming up soon.
Well, we had a look at this course earlier on, and when you look at the last kilometre and a half, you've got to say it's designed for the sprinters, provided they can stay with the leaders, because before the sprint finish, there's a full minute of downhill recovery.
Yes, it's an unusual course, and if the sprinters stay with it, they have a chance.
So the margin now between the first and the second group, well, in fact, we've got two lead groups, haven't we, with Bjørgen and Parmakoski going for gold and silver. Kalla and Weng look as though they're going to be fighting it out for that bronze medal. Shakalova at 35 behind, no chance. Well, it looks as though Finland are going to get their first medal of these championships, but there's still a distinct possibility it could be a golden one, because Parmakoski has played every card to perfection so far. She's stuck in the slipstream of Bjørgen when it's needed. On a couple of occasions, Mike, she's let herself glide past and just make a point. Don't think you're going to beat me, Bjørgen, just because you've had so much success in this event in the past.
Look at this climb, though. Bjørgen, I don't think we've seen Marit Bjørgen so aggressive, so focused. Yes, she's won everything, and she's on that high level where she can almost win anything. But Parmakoski is having the mindset day of her life. She's making it look quite easy. She's just focused to remain with the brutal pace at the front, and maybe she will.
In terms of technique and efficiency, Parmakoski impressing me more than Bjørgen. And we've mentioned the tactics that Parmakoski's using. It just seems to me that she's feeding off the strength of the Norwegian.
and you have to, because this lady at the front is just, there'll never be anyone quite like it. I don't think this section of the course is good. You're getting some breathing, some recovery, but under the tunnels, there's another brutal 22% climb coming up. Parmakoski, it's just composed. I think that was Marit Bjørgen with mouth wide open, gasping for air.
Yeah, she's tried on a number of occasions to shake the Finn. If they're together on the next lap at this stage, Mike, with what, 2 minutes to go to the finish line, I'm not sure who you favour. Bjørgen certainly has a better sprinting history than Parmakoski, but Parmakoski still looks so light on her feet. I wouldn't put it past her making her own break on the second and final lap of the freestyle.
35,000 people will be wanting to see that, but we can never write off Marit Bjørgen. And it's more difficult, isn't it, trying to lead? Well, not trying to lead, but having led everything to this point, 4.76.
Well, I tell you what, those members of Luhalahti, which is where Parmakoski comes from, who aren't here at the moment, will probably be hot-footing it the 100k or so to the southeast to get to Lahti in time for the finish, because this could be a sensation. She still looks brilliant in second place, which is where she finished in the Tour de Ski.
You need to carry a lot of speed down there, and Parmakoski stumbled a little. Her legs are not quite spent yet, but they're certainly extremely tired.
Coming up towards the halfway stage of the freestyle leg, this section of the course, which in the past, Mike, has been very quick and proved a lot of problems, is not so fast today. It's going to be a full minute from the top, the high point, to where they have to start working in the stadium again. That will give whoever's feeling tired an opportunity to recover before the last 300 meters.
Look at the skis now. Out earlier there was just nothing but blue suits testing blue skis, the blue flag skis, or the blue and white flag, and I think Parmakoski's got better skis. That's unusual. The Norwegian team are certainly the biggest and maybe more knowledgeable, but at the moment it's great news for Finland.
Yeah, we usually differ in opinion on that one. I'm a big believer in the slipstream effect, but the Norwegians did look a little bit flustered with all their ski preparation. You can't help feeling, Mike, they've got too many men out there, men and women working on the skis. They've got hordes of them, all preparing, testing every section at the track. There has to be a case that you can sometimes have too much information.
Strange, isn't it? Maybe too much input. There has to be one man making the decisions with all the knowledge coming in. But no, I think Parmakoski on the very sharp right-hander, she didn't take it well. She lost some 8 meters. I thought there was quite a gap initially on the final descent to stadium. We'll see next time. I think Bjørgen's a little stronger on the corners. She gets more speed out of corners than Parmakoski.
Heidi Weng versus Charlotte Kaller for the bronze medal. And let's look at the margin back to the chasing group, being led at the moment by Yulia Shekalova of Russia, who was 9th in the Norwegian Championships behind Bjørgen. Over 2.5 minutes adrift at the moment, not doing too badly, only 49 behind with 1 lap to go, 3.75 kilometers. 14 is Astrid Jakobsen. It's not going to be a second silver medal in the skiathlon for her. This is all about Bjørgen versus Parmakoski. Bjørgen 106 wins, Parmakoski 2. Well, for the first time, Parmakoski has taken the lead in the women's skiathlon, but Marit Bjørgen made it absolutely clear she was not prepared to lead anymore. Has she used up too much fuel at the front? We'll find out in the next 10 minutes or so. They're on their final lap of 4. The 7.5 Classic has been completed. That reduced the field down to 4, and now we just have 2 at the front. Parmakoski of Finland, Marit Bjørgen of Norway. Bjørgen's so much experience, Mike, but she's giving away 9 years to Parmakoski at 36. She's a mum, Bjørgen, so she's got a lot more in her life than cross-country skiing.
She has. Well, she absolutely has. I've never seen Bjørgen have a conversation with another athlete from another nation at this stage in any race, and she said something, well, clearly, Parmakoski, your turn to lead. I'm really surprised Parmakoski fell for it. She should just stay in behind her.
Yeah, I'd love to see a picture of Fred Lundberg, Marit Bjørgen's partner, and of course Marius, their 14-year-old boy. 14-month-old. He'll not know a thing about what is going on, but I think he might sense the excitement. Is she going to add a world title? The first that would be since she gave birth, so a big moment for her. Parmakoski, of course, if she wins in front of a home crowd, she's made. Oh,
she's made for life, and this memory today. But her body language changed, Parmakoski, when she went to the front. You could feel the discomfort. She was okay hanging in behind Bjørgen. Now she's taking the leadership role, and that's just going to recharge Marit Bjørgen's batteries. And remember, Marit Bjørgen is one of the few athletes in this field who raced here 2001, 17 years ago. This is an easy part of the track, and it's gone slow. Well done, Parmakoski. That's the best strategy to take the victory here, if that's what she wants. Of course she does.
Well, Marit Bjørgen's a fantastic sprinter, Mike, and although she was in her sprinting prime, 2004, 2005, prior to 2006, she's still shown that she's pretty sharp. She's immensely strong, but she obviously feels confident that she's going to be better if she's rested when she comes into the stadium. She's tried to break Parmakoski. It hasn't happened.
They're just keeping an eye. That they've got to remember Charlotte Kaller's 22 seconds behind, but closing and actually closing the gap.
Is that Jessie Diggins deciding she's had enough today? Wasn't going her way. The Americans, of course, 2 medals already from these championships. It started pretty much like it did in Falun 2 years ago.
Patrick, we're coming down to the very low point of the track again, and it's that monster climb back up to almost half the height of the big ski jump to the high point, and then it's another easy journey back to the stadium.
So if you were Bjørgen, would you go for it now, or would you wait until they reach the high point and trust your sprinting skills into the finish?
Well, I think Bjørgen's going to try and go now. She's had recovery. The pace has been mediocre for the last 2.5 minutes. Bjørgen, I think, will put in a blast up this one.
Parmakoski, she's having none of it. She makes her presence known, and away she goes. Maybe she fancies her chances if she can stay with the pace. This is a bold move from Parmakoski. It's her home track. She knows these tracks so well, and she knows how much pain she's going to be in when she reaches the top. But that first little burst of 50 meters hasn't worked, and you can see in the background that Charlotte Kaller is closing from 28 seconds behind. It's now down to less than 15, and Charlotte Kaller, if the game of cat and mouse goes on, could be in the mix for the gold medal.
It wouldn't surprise me if Parmakoski's coaches have said, okay, you're okay to lead the last part because your skis are that little bit faster. I don't know.
But yes, but
this is still playing into Bjørgen's hands now with Parmakoski.
Absolutely. Bjørgen at this stage, for me, wants to be in second place as they come down into the stadium, because she'll benefit from the slipstream and she won't have Parmakoski catapulted past her as they hit the flat with 3:15 to go.
Oh, it's brewing up. This is the very high point of the course, the top of this bridge. This next section, you've got about 35 seconds, fairly easy, and then that 22% climb again before they go round the back of the hill. Well, who's composed?
Well, every single pair of eyes in the stadium is glued on the big screen, and they can see that their athlete is leading. Parmakoski, 26 years old. She comes from 130, 140 Ks to the northwest of Lahti. So many of her fans, many of her family, I suspect all her family will be here watching this one. This could be the biggest moment in her career. But again, a reminder, she's only got 2 wins in her career at World Cup, World Championship level. Compare that with Bjørgen, 106 victories.
Listen to the stadium is alive. They can't believe this was the best possible. Oh, Bjørgen's making the break. Parmakoski has to react.
Well, this is a bold move again from Marit Bjørgen, and Parmakoski digs deep. She finds something a little bit special. There will be no gap as they go round the top of the hill, and still they have that 1 minute descent into the stadium, and suddenly from what, 50 centimeters, Marit Bjørgen stolen 5 or 6 meters, and the champion from the Olympics in 2014, and of course Marit Bjørgen, who's won this title in 2010, 2011, 2013 and in 2014 at the Olympics, could be doing it again today in Lahti.
Parmakoski caught completely sleeping there. She was leading up that brutal climb. That was always where there was going to be a break, and Marit Bjørgen so strong on those climbs.
The sprinting prowess really showing, Mike. It was only a 40-50 meter burst. I thought Parmakoski matched it initially, but then, as you say, maybe she was just napping a little. Now, those fast skis that you think Parmakoski's on have got to do their job.
She needs rockets right now, but she really needs rockets, but she was free skiing down this section. She didn't take this corner as well last time. That's okay this time.
Last chance for Parmakoski, but the 30-meter gap looks too big at the moment. 350 meters for Marit Bjørgen to go. She's some 35 seconds away from her first gold medal of these championships.
Parmakoski, she did everything so right. Maybe she'll look back at this and think, I shouldn't really have led at that point, but Marit Bjørgen was always going to be so difficult to contain.
6 Olympic golds. She's got 14 World Championship golds. That tally is going up to 15. Marit Bjørgen, at the age of 36, does it again. Take nothing away from Parmakoski. A sensational race. She made this race. 4.8 the margin in the end. Great tactics from Marit Bjørgen.
Yes, in the end, Bjørgen, when she said she tried and tried and tried to break Bjørgen, Parmakoski wasn't possible. In the end, she had to tell her, take some lead at the front.
And Charlotte Kalla, who's had far too few victories for someone of her abilities, has come through to claim the bronze medal here. 32 seconds the margin. She managed to shake off Heidi Weng at the start of the final lap. Great friends, Kalla and Bjørgen. They've been on the tour for many, many years together. Here's the race for 4th place, and Heidi Weng caught by von Siebenthal of Switzerland, who's having a sensational run into the stadium.
Oh, look at this. These 4 have been together most of the race.
It's going to be 4th place for Siebenthal if she can stay on her feet. 20 meters to go, just a couple more strides. She gets it. And Heidi Weng, who was up with the leaders at the end of the 3rd lap, fading in the closing stages, just didn't enjoy being on her own on that last lap, losing a lot of time. Over 30 seconds to Charlotte Kalla, thrown away over the last 3 Ks. Shakalova 7, Jakobsen 8, Sadova 9. Well, what a moment. What a moment for the Finns. It could have been a golden one, but I think they'll be happy with silver at this stage. There was a day, Mike, when Bjørgen was racing, silver was as good as gold.
Yes, throughout. It's so long Bjørgen has graced these tracks with that super engine that she has. She's so unbelievably strong, and her determination very hard to beat. Parmakoski, I thought she had a slim chance of breaking that combination today.
18 coming in, Kalsina for Russia, just ahead of Victoria Karl, who fell in the early stages of the race. Really had no chance once that had happened. Randall, the bronze medalist from the sprint 2 days ago, outside the top 15 today. But I think the Finns can be proud of what Parmakoski's done. We were watching her through the Tour de Ski, Mike, and we were really impressed with her tenacity more than anything else.
And yes, and the fact that this summer she built more strength in those legs for the freestyle. Traditionally she would have been, what, some 40 seconds, 50 slower than Bjørgen, and she nearly matched her stride for stride today.
Elizabeth Stephen of USA down in 20th position. Remember, she finished second in the Skiathlon World Cup in Pyeongchang, the pre-Olympic race, but very much lower quality field, with Justina Kowalczyk winning on that occasion. Kowalczyk not racing today. She's saving herself for the 10, and she'll be delighted that Marit Bjørgen has had a tough run out, because Bjørgen's her main rival in the 10.
That's so true. And well, Kowalczyk, she's won 49, well 50 now World Cups in total. She's a real contender.
Brocard of Italy, 3:21 behind. You have to remember that the speeds they're skiing, they're covering a kilometre in around 2:30, 2:35.
That's some incredible pace. Here's Medvedeva coming in now, who took the bad fall, and her face landed on the ski tip, the very sharp tungsten tips, and it cut her right cheek.
Yeah, Bjørgen and of course Parmakoski will be on the front of the pavers tomorrow, but the image of Medvedeva might also be there. It's only a little bit of blood. Oof. She'll be fine. She'll be fine.
That's a deep cut, very deep cut, I think, on the right cheek. Bravery.
I think we call it a nick in British, don't we?
I think, yeah, if we get another shot, that's a big, deep cut. Her face, you could see when she hit the pole, it was a real impact through that ski pole tip.
Proshashkova down in 34. The margin's absolutely massive at this stage. The way the race shaped out, Mike, Bjørgen was the one responsible for thinning out the field. She went for it, so you have to give her credit for that. But I suspect that Parmakoski's brief from the coaches before the race was get in behind Bjørgen and just stay there.
I think you're right, because the psychology is so strong to hide behind the athlete, and Bjørgen was so frustrated. She tried everything in her armory to get rid of her. Here's Annika Taylor coming in, and she lost 35 seconds involved in that same fall as Medvedeva. Yeah, so when Bjørgen could not get rid of Parmakoski, in the end she gave up. She said, okay, I can't break this lady, and she slowed down and said take some lead. And I think Parmakoski maybe should have just completely stopped and said, nope, I'm happy the way I am.
Bjørgen win in terms of medals, but do you give the ski preparation, the technicians, do you give the gold to the Finns?
Certainly, they look good, and maybe that's what helped her on the journey. And I think everyone here expected Bjørgen to win, but Parmakoski so nearly broke through and took the biggest surprise ever.
And another medal for Charlotte Kalla, who was 6th in the World Championships last time.
Well, the three great nations, Norway, Sweden and Finland, or Norway, Finland, Sweden on the podium.
Marit Bjørgen, she's only 5'6", but she's the biggest of those on the podium today. Most of them coming in mid-50s in terms of weight, 55, 56 kilos, Mike. You do not want to be a big guy or girl racing on these hills.
No, and this was Parmakoski. Look, she was taken by surprise. I know the pace is fearsome on the right there, on the right of the track.
But she stayed with it for the initial phase, got herself back in contention. It was over the rise. It was that last 4 meters of climbing where Bjørgen pulled away. Finally, the muscles in Parmakoski's arms giving up.
And I think we said earlier, you need huge momentum over the top of that crest of that rise, because you're gliding all the way back to the stadium. Parmakoski had less speed over the top, less speed on the glide.
Do you think if Bjørgen had put a sprint in like that earlier on, maybe at the same point on the penultimate lap, she would have taken the pressure off herself?
A little, but then it's expensive. If you try those strategies and it doesn't work out, then you've given out one of your trump cards.
But ultimately, she ground Palmakovsky down with, you know, there must have been 4 or 5 sections where she plied the pressure. It didn't work, but the final attempt did. It was the last climb. It was her last chance. It paid off. Welcome back to Lottie, a roundup of the women's skiathlon, the first of 2 races taking place today. Marit Bjørgen reigns on, 37.57, the gold medal winning time over the 15 kilometres. Palmakovsky, brilliant. She made the race and claims herself a silver medal ahead of Charlotte Kalla of Sweden. Nice start for Charlotte Kalla as well. I hope we see a bit more from her. 10-kilometre classic, Mike, or do you think Kalla's only chances in the freestyle?
I think she's on great form, and you know, to again win the bronze medal in this competition. She did it at home in Falun 2 years ago. She's on really top form at the moment. She has a chance.
Further down the order, nice to see the Australians with Jezasek in the top 24. Good run from her. Even further down, we've got Annika Taylor. We saw her in the sprint the other day, Mike. She looked to be skiing so much better, full of confidence, much stronger in the legs than I've seen before. Very, very competent on the technical sections as well. Maybe a decent future for her.
Oh, definitely, and just growing in status with practically with every race, and that's a much better time than in her past. So growing stronger and stronger by the day.
But I feel very good and ski so good, so I tried to attack it from the beginning. It was just me and Palmakovsky. I knew maybe I had a little bit better finish than her, so, but I didn't know how the Charlotte was behind us, so how we should have the fast, but we wanted to go in front, so it was a little bit difficult.
And the noise out there, certainly when we saw it on the TV in the stadium here when Krista made her moves, it was loud. Could you feel the energy? I mean, the home crowd was for sure pulling for Krista, but you held your own and you're champion again.
Yeah, I think this was wonderful for the sport. It was me and Palmakovsky in Finland, so it was well, the people was there and the atmosphere was very good. So, yeah.
All right, well, congratulations on number 15.
Thank you.
Well, nice to hear from Marit Bjørgen. We couldn't hear a thing about what she said, so we're going to have to find out a little later on. But she has got her first gold medal of the 2017 Nordic World Championships. What a race. Well, we get a breather for, what, an hour and 45 minutes, 2:30 local time, the start of the men's skiathlon. And Martin Jonsrud Sundby of Norway starts as the favourite as we have another look at the results of the women's race. But in terms of British interest, Andrew Musgrave, this is where his focus is, because the other races that he might have been interested in, the 15-kilometre, for example, is in the classic style. So the skiathlon is his favourite event.
It is, and what a season Andrew's had. He's bib number 11 coming up at 2:30, and he's had a great season. 6th, I think, was amazing. 4.5 seconds off the podium over 15 kilometres in Sweden, 5 weeks ago, World Cup. He's got the speed in the freestyle. He's improved so much in his classic this year as well.
But he has got to hang on in the classic if he wants a chance. And we are talking in terms of a top 5 or 6. He's hit the top 10 twice this season, consistently in the top 20, hardly ever out of the top 20 actually in the races he's done this season. So he's a class act, and we're looking forward to seeing him in action. But to take on Sundby, to take on Ustiakov, it's no small task.
It's just, I think it is one of the hard, we say this often, one of the hardest courses to hang on to the strongest classic skiers, and that takes a lot of energy out of you.
Charlotte Kalla, well, it took until the 13-kilometre stage to shake off Heidi Weng of Norway, but she did it well and opened up a gap of over 30 seconds over Weng, and in the end cruised home to take the bronze medal. Her first of these championships. Parmakoski, this perhaps the most important medal of the day. It's the silver, but she's got the host nation something to cheer about. I think Parmakoski gave it absolutely everything. It's been a brilliant season. Second in the Tour de Ski, second in the World Championship Skiathlon, and she's got plenty more opportunities to claim some medals. But Marit Bjørgen, she picked her moment and just sprung a little bit of surprise, showed her sprinting prowess that's won her so many titles in the previous years. And she gets World Championship gold, number 15. Yeah, and she looks just as happy with this one as with all the rest. She was sensational in Falun. She started the same way here. Well, here you see the tally. 36 years of age. Made her debut back in 1999. And, of course, got her first win in 2002. 107 wins in total now. Can she take it up to 150? Surely not. I think Pyeongchang might be the focus after this.
Have a good week. Yeah, you too. Yeah. Just call me.
Norwegians delighted. There'll be a party for them in town. Certainly, Mike, the Finns, the majority in the crowds. Not as many Norwegians as we were expecting.
No, that's quite surprising. I thought this weekend we'd see, because these races are special and the Norwegian interest there. Although Veng was favoured for a podium, so was Østberg, and they've only managed a 5th. I say only a 19th, because they've led so much of this season. So when it matters most at the World Championships, they're both quite flat, relatively quite flat.
Yeah, and that could be skis again. We'll have a chat to some of our fellow commentators and find out what they feel about that. If we're lucky, we might bump into some of the technicians, but generally they'll keep stum about what is going on, and no one's going to criticise anyone else's work at this stage. The tracks out there, Per Elifson thought they were a little bit faster than yesterday, but certainly that run down into the stadium didn't look as quick.
No, the descent, the slow descent, it used to be quite a fast glide, but you're not getting an awful lot of speed coming into the sharp right-hander before the final descent. And I think one of the biggest surprises today, Patrick, of course, bib number 12, rank 12, von Siebenthal from Switzerland, taking a 4th position.
Yeah, and Switzerland will be delighted with Dario Colonia out of action at the moment. He's got a calf injury, so he's not doing the classic races. So I think we will see him in the freestyle. We might see him in the 50K. I can't see him doing the 50K with a calf injury that flared up in Otapa, the last round of the World Cups.
Yeah, unless he's got a very good physio, but it is the classic more so that's ripping that or tearing that muscle. Maybe he could recover. He's got 8 days to recover for that 50.
Yeah, he's been a bit unlucky with injuries. It always seems to be the season before the Olympic Games when things go wrong, and then he pulls the rabbit out the bag and surprises us and gets himself some more Olympic medals.
Quite incredible. Remember, Sochi, October, he badly twisted his ankle. Instantly they operated, they got great physio on it. We didn't see him until the weekend before the Olympics, and he was in good form and then went on to win the gold medal. Quite incredible.
So a silver medal for the Finnish women in the skiathlon. In the men's,
well, the men's, Sundby's going to be a very, very tough target to beat. We've got Hellner, who's always comes good for championships. Matti Heikkinen as the local, he'll have watched that. He'll be aware of this special occasion today where Parmakoski found something where she was not going to let go. She just let go at the end, and I think the way she reacted to that silver, it was as if it was the gold with Bjørgen in the field.
Well, delighted to say that it's a very slick operation here. The athletes already making their way out to the podium for the flower ceremony, and Marit Bjørgen resplendent in her pink headband. Alongside her, a great friend and long-term rival, Charlotte Kalla, who's claimed the bronze medal. But just wait until you hear the cheer for Parmakoski. .37.57 the winning time. Quite quick compared to some of the championship courses we've had before. Generally around 38.39. Well, they'll be celebrating in PTO. They're going to be celebrating in Lahti and Luhalahti for Parmakoski. What a fighter.
Winner of women's skiathlon and the world champion, Norway.
The 15th time she takes her place on top of the podium. Sensational. Remember, she's got 6 gold medals to her name from the Olympic Games, and on this sort of form, Mike, I can't see her hanging up her skis at the end of this season.
It doesn't seem like it. I think she'll pick and choose her races next season as well. You can over race. We saw that with Weng and Usberg. A little tired here.
Yeah, Kaller, of course, doing the same this season. Parmakoski, give her credit, she's been there all the way through, had a brutal fight in the Tour de Ski. Came off second best to Heidi Weng in the end, but it was a fantastic performance from her. And Marit Bjørgen mixing family and business and doing it to perfection. Wasn't quite as easy as many thought it was going to be. Well, understandably, they say you never tire of winning, but Marit Bjørgen looked more emotional in that celebration than we've seen for a long, long time, Mike. And I wonder just how much more it means now that she has a family and now that life is a juggling act.
It's a huge juggling act, and I was thinking there when she looked very emotional that, of course, she had nearly, it was over 600 days away from cross-country racing. It's a long time, it's a huge time, and she didn't know if she'd have the strength again when she came back in November. And she won the first World Cup. She's winning again.
Well, that's all from Lahti 4 to now. We come back for the men's skiathlon. It starts at 2:30 local time. If you're watching in Europe, it's a 13:15 start. We'll get some highlights, get some thoughts of the experts. Hopefully we'll hear from Per Eilofsson again. He can talk us through the course. But hopefully it will be as dramatic, as competitive as the women's skiathlon has been. Sundby starts as favourite, but the Finns will sense that they can get a second medal. We'll see you later on. Thanks for your company.